Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm back from Cape Verde. It has been the most incredible holiday I've ever been on. I do just want to apologise for the fact that there was no video last Sunday. I tried to pre-film as many videos as I could before we went away, but the days flew by. I was running out of ideas. I needed some inspiration, and so I didn't get a video filmed and scheduled for last Sunday, so that's why there wasn't one up last week. But I'm back, and I know what you're thinking. Well, she's not got a very good tan. No. I've got a bit of a tan, but yeah, probably not one for somebody that's been abroad for 10 days, but that's just one of them things. So I didn't really have anything planned for today's video. I just wanted to get back into the swing of things, so I've got a cup of tea, I've made a few notes, and we're just going to have a bit of a catch up, and I'm going to let you know how our holiday went, tell you a bit about the flight, about our wonderful hotel that we stayed in, some things you can do on Boa Vista Island in Cape Verde, and just have a bit of a natter. So I hope that's alright for you, and I hope you enjoy the video. So I will pre-warn you that this might be a very long video, so go pop the kettle on, go make yourself a cup of tea and get comfy. So as you'll know, if you've been watching my videos for a little while, I was lucky enough to be offered a holiday by Thomson's Holidays. I won't go into too much detail, but basically they were very kind enough to send me some money to go on a very much needed holiday. And after some scrolling and endless searching on the Thomson's website, we decided to go to Boa Vista in Cape Verde. Now, Scott had been to the island of Sol, I think that's how you pronounce it. He'd gone to Sol before and he was interested to go and see the other island, and I have never been abroad, so I was completely open to wherever we went. But as soon as we saw the hotel, we both instantly fell in love. I'll insert some photos here and let you decide for yourselves. We stayed at the Rue Tarag, I think that's how you say it, Tarag, I don't know, I've probably butchered the name, but it's a 5-star hotel on the island of Boa Vista. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure there's a couple of other hotels under the same name in other countries as well. But the architecture was just breathtaking. I love that they've managed to kind of incorporate the colours into the same sort of colours that the land is in. So for me and Scott, we decided it looked like a sandcastle. Again, I'll let you decide what you think, but it was absolutely breathtaking. Decor throughout the hotel was stunning. You've got the African oranges and blacks and golds. You've got the African masks hanging upon the wall and statues everywhere. And something really important for me, which is probably going to sound absolutely ridiculous to anybody else, there was palm trees. I saw palm trees. I've never been abroad, and that's one thing I wanted to see. So in our hotel, I think they said they have 2,700 rooms, and they can currently fit 1,700 people in. Or it's obviously, it might be the other way around, I can't remember. So it's fairly big. We got lost on our first day trying to walk to our room, but we did quickly find a shortcut, as it was the block that we stayed in had only been built in the last year, so it was fairly new. The fact that there is absolutely nothing around on the island gives me the impression that they can make this hotel as big as they want. And having seen the new additions, so our block of rooms was new, they'd added an infinity pool, and a few other bits and bobs as well. So they are improving the hotel, and it's good to see that it's getting quite popular with the tourists. And we did have a little welcome meeting with the Thomson's reps on our first full day there, and Shelley, lovely lady, told us a little bit about the history of Cape Verde, about Boa Vista and the day trips that Thomson offer to you if you stay at Boa Vista. But she also let us know that there is a millionaire interested in building a whole new hotel. So who knows, in the next couple of years there'll be 3 hotels on Boa Vista and it will be a lot more popular. I really hope that it is, because honestly it is such a beautiful place. So I realise I've rambled and gone on to a bit of a tangent, but as I said, I have written some notes to kind of remind me of what I wanted to include in this video. So first up, our flight was from Manchester Airport on Monday morning. It wasn't a particularly earlier flight, it was 9 o'clock, but we decided after some talk with Scott's mum and dad that it might be a good idea to travel up to Manchester the day before, so on the Sunday. So after some searching on the internet, I managed to find us a really cheap deal with Premier Inn, because you can't go wrong with Premier Inn. I'd never personally stayed in Premier Inn, but I've heard good things from friends that have. So we found a Premier Inn quite close to the airport. It cost us £46 something for both of us for one night. I don't think that was too bad, and it was a lovely night's sleep. The bed was so comfy, the room was a decent size, it had an ensuite as well with shower and bath. What more can you ask for one night? We booked the taxi for 5 o'clock Monday morning so that we had enough time to go through check-in. Scott wanted to make sure that he could take his PSP on the flight, and being a new flyer, I wanted to make sure we were sat together. I didn't particularly want to be sat on my own. Obviously I would have been with somebody, but I wanted to be with Scott. So we got to the airport at 5:30. We walked straight through to check in. We dropped off our bags, no problems at all. We were sat together, that was my priority. There was absolutely no problems whatsoever with Scott taking his PSP, so that was fine. Now we had a couple of hours to wander around the airport, go through security and get some breakfast. So although we got through check-in quite quick, there was a huge queue for security, as you can imagine. But at 5:30 in the morning I was quite surprised. There were tannoy announcements calling for people that were almost missing their flight. I don't know, but the staff at Manchester Airport were fantastic. They had everything under control. If you were still in the queue waiting to go for security, but your flight was almost leaving, they came round the queue and made sure that you didn't miss your flight, which I don't know if that's a standard thing that happens or what, but I just thought that was really great of them. You know, you can't help being stuck in security. Obviously there are a few people that don't listen to the announcements and hold everybody else up. Going through security was, I don't know, quite nerve-wracking. It's something I've only done twice before, so I kind of knew what to expect, but still, what with everything that's gone on in the world, you never know, do you? And so yeah, I placed all my belongings in the right place in the tray, even had to take my shoes off. Luckily for me, no metal detectors went off. For Scott, on the other hand, they did. And as I'm at the bottom of the belt, putting my shoes back on, getting all my bags, putting my cardigan back on, I've turned round to Scott being stopped by security. The guy did this really weird thing on his hands and asked him to sit down. But it was just a normal thing. It was, you know, they say that they pick somebody out randomly in the queue and they check. That's fine. I would rather they check and know that I'm 150% safe than them not check at all. So we weren't too fussed, but at that moment in time, my anxiety had pretty much settled in and I was worried a little bit. I don't know why. So we're through security, we're walking around duty free, we've got a lot of time to kill. It didn't take very long to get through security at all, which again is a plus, but you never really know with these things, do you? So I guess it's always good to go with plenty of time to spare. So we're wandering around the shops. I'd forgot nail varnish remover, so I had to go to Boots and pick some of that up. We've walked around. Of course, the first thing we've checked is if there's any Pokestops around. I know, we need to get a life, but that's what we did for a little bit. And then we went and got breakfast, which was incredible. I think we went to a place called Jenny's. I could be wrong, but I think that's what it was called. It was one of the cheapest places in the airport. There's quite a few places to eat in Terminal 2. Not anywhere that I'd seen on the website, so I was obviously looking at the wrong terminal. But hey ho, we found somewhere to have breakfast. We just chilled out a little bit, and then before I knew it, it was time to board our flight. And you guessed it, our gate was at the other end of the airport. Why? So we made our way down to our gate. There was already people boarding, obviously people sitting and waiting for everyone else to board, but we joined the queue, and unbeknown to us, we'd not booked our seats, we had no idea where we were sitting, we just got a seat number and the aisle number. But we were sat at the front of the plane. The best seats you could ever possibly have. Now our flight was 6 hours. The pilot did manage to get it down to 5 hours 20 I think, so we made up a lot of time, but to have that extra leg room was amazing. I did have to get up at one point, and those of you that have watched some of my previous videos will know that I was a little bit nervous about standing up and walking around the plane. I don't know why, it was completely fine. I was a little bit unsure at first, but I had a bit of pins and needles, so I had no choice to get up, stand up, queue for the toilet in the longest queue ever, even though apparently there was 4 toilets on the plane. I don't know, everyone wanted to use the front plane, so yeah. We didn't have any in-flight entertainment because Thomson classed Cape Verde as a short to mid-haul flight, so we took entertainment for ourselves, as you'd seen in my Flight Essentials videos, which I will link below if anyone's interested in watching that. I took my colouring books and I took a couple of books to read on the plane, and I decided to read Matilda, and I actually finished this while we were away. They're not particularly long books, but I thoroughly enjoyed it. And I also started to read Charlie and the Chocolate Factory while we were away. Not finished it yet, but I'm sure it's going to be as wonderful as the films. So I read some of my book on the plane. Unfortunately, Scott was unable to watch his film on the app Flickster videos that we downloaded before we went. There was some sort of system error, I don't know, and I stupidly logged myself out so that Scott could watch a film, and then realised because I'd got no internet I could not re-log in. So that was a huge fail on my part, but I wasn't too fussed. The flight flew by, literally, and I was quite happily reading my book. And I downloaded an episode of EastEnders to as well, as sad as that sounds. But yeah, there was not one point of the flight where we were both sat there like, this is boring, I just want to get there now. Yeah, we had plenty to do, and luckily we sat next to the nicest couple I have ever met. They were really lovely, and luckily they stayed in our hotel as well, so we saw them a few times during our stay, and they always made the effort to come over and talk to us. So we made holiday friends, and that was really nice. It's quite sad that we're not going to see them ever again. So as I briefly mentioned, we had a welcome meeting with the Thomson reps. A lovely lady called Shelley welcomed us to the island, told us a little bit about the island, the history, and it was just really nice to come to terms with the way people live. As I briefly mentioned already, we stayed at the Rue Tuareg? I don't know. We stayed at that hotel anyway. It was completely amazing. We stopped in one of the newer blocks on the ground floor. We did have an issue with ants, and one night we did have a cockroach in our bathroom, which wasn't a great experience, but Scott managed to get rid of it okay anyway. So yeah, there was no real problem really. I will insert some photos of our room here. As you can see, it's a decent size. The beds were the most comfiest thing I've ever slept in. The bathroom was amazing. It was a double basin sink with a shower and a toilet. No bath, but in them temperatures the last thing I want is to stand in a bath. We also had a balcony which looked out onto the main road to the hotel. It wasn't the best of views, but we did have a regular visitors of goats, which was quite amusing. We had working aircon as well as a ceiling fan. The only issue we found with the aircon was that it constantly dripped. Again, not really an issue, so we didn't bother reporting it. We were just there to enjoy ourselves, relax. We didn't really spend that much time in the room. The nighttime entertainment wasn't great. We weren't too keen. So there were a few nights where we'd go out for dinner and either sit in the lobby and play a few card games or just talk, or we would go back to the room and just chill. We managed to find a channel on the TV that played English films, so Scott would watch some of them. I would try to watch them, but then I would just fall asleep because I was knackered. The hotel does offer loads of activities. There's an activity board just outside of the lobby, just before you walk down to the pool and the beach, and every day of the week, Monday to Sunday, there is an activity every hour or every half an hour to an hour throughout the day. You've got stuff like volleyball on the beach. There was bowls that Scott had a few attempts at. He did win once, he'd like me to add, he did win once. We played darts most days at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. We played a new game that I've never heard of before. I think you pronounce it Shoalback. I'll insert a few photos here of us playing. I really want Scott to attempt to make the board so that we can play throughout the summer in the back garden, because it was so fun. Completely simple to play. Basically all you do is you have some wooden discs, 4 arches at the end, scoring 1, 2, 3 and 4 points. If you got one in all 4 arches, you would score a maximum of 20 points. I won 2 days in a row. It was brilliant. If you win an activity, you do get a certificate. This was my first one and it was for Shoalback, and I got 62 points the first time I won. It's a nice little momentum. I think on some activities you get first, second and third place, you get a certificate. Scott got a certificate for everything we played, and he's not let me hear the last of it since we've been back. As well as darts, volleyball, bowls, Shoalback, you can also play water ball. There's something at 12 o'clock every single day around the pool called Crazy Game. Scott got roped into playing and it turned out to be Limbo. So I'll insert some footage here of him playing Limbo.
Come on Scott, make us proud. Let's go, make us proud. Come on everybody, clap your hands for Scott. Let's go, vamos. Mate, look in the palo, keep looking in the palo. Come on Scott, everybody's watching, everybody's watching. Come on Scott. Just amazing, just amazing.
Scott came second in Limbo, very, very close to winning. The girl he was up against was amazing. Scott said he would have won if it wasn't for the fact that he'd completely taken off a few layers of skin on his feet, because he stupidly took his flip-flops off to get grip on the floor, and being the hottest part of the day was just the most stupidest thing he could have ever done, and yeah, got an injury in the process. So as well as the activities that the hotel offers every single day, Thomson's offer activities and day trips as well. There was one trip that I really wanted to do, but it was quite pricey, and that was to go on a trip during the evening and go and have dinner on the beach somewhere. And there was a possibility, depending on what time of year you do it, that you see the turtles come up, and obviously you could watch the sunset and it would be magical. But Thomson were charging quite a lot of money, and having seen the island and how people were living, I didn't want Thomson's to have the money. If it was going back into the island, then I would have 100% paid it. But the fact that it was going, that a huge percentage of it was going back to Thomson's, I wasn't prepared to pay, which is a shame. I know it means I've missed out, but there we go. There were also trips for fishing, which was insanely expensive. There was also trips to the north side of the island or the south side. I was interested in doing them, but the days literally just flew by while we were away. I honestly don't know how or where them 10 days went. One trip Thomson do offer, and we did decide to go, was whale watching. So whale watching, we decided to go for the afternoon. It was €69 each, which may sound a lot, but I think that works out roughly at about £59 each. So you get picked up from the hotel. We got picked up at 1:15. It took about half an hour to get to the harbour. We then got a dinghy, which was the most nerve-wracking thing I've ever done, onto a catamaran. I'd already pre-warned Scott that there was a huge possibility that I would get seasick, and I did. But there was a lovely lady on the boat that came to my rescue, and I could not say thank you enough. Despite me being ill, it was such an amazing afternoon out. We didn't see any dolphins, we didn't see any whales. We were also told there was a possibility of seeing manta rays. We didn't, which was a shame. We did see a lot of flying fish though, which was nice, but it's not really whales or dolphins, is it? But despite all that, and of course despite me being ill, it was an incredible day out. So if you visit Boa Vista and you don't really know what to do, I highly recommend that you go whale watching, even though there's a possibility you won't actually see anything. So Boa Vista Island is a very, very small island. There isn't a lot to do, so I would highly recommend making the most of the activities that the hotel offer, and of course checking out day trips with Thomson. So we spent a few days sunbathing. I know, don't really look like I've got much of a tan, which is a shame, but I'm happy with what bit of tan I've got. And we were there to relax, and that's what we did. I also very proud to say that I managed to swim just the tiniest bit. I don't know how many meters it was. It probably wasn't even a meter, probably half a meter, but I'm almost 27, and not being able to swim has never bothered me until booking this holiday. So it was something I was determined to try and do before we came home. And I wouldn't say I'm that much confident, but I got my feet up and I moved from where I started, and that's the most important thing. So yeah, I managed to swim the tiniest bit while we were away, and that was the most important thing for me. So as I say, there's not much to do on the island. We did have a few cloudy days, so we made the most of the cooler days and took a walk along the beach, which went on for miles, literal miles. The sand's not quite hard, so you do need to be aware of that. One day we walked down the left side of the beach towards the sand dunes. amazing. I struggled a little bit, I must admit, but it was well worth getting down there. And then on the second coolish day, we walked down the right side, and there wasn't much down there. We were literally walking for no reason, but it was lovely. And we did see a lot of crabs, the tiniest things. Scott, I think, managed to get a few photos. They were too quick for me. I didn't manage to get any at all. Of course, the most important thing while you're away on holiday is what you're going to eat. Now, there were a total of 6 restaurants in the hotel. You've got your main restaurant, which you go for breakfast, lunch and dinner, and then there was 5 themed restaurants, if you like, and then 1 solely just for adult only if you were staying in the adult only section of the hotel. The themed restaurants included a Cape Verdean restaurant, which is a lot of fish because they're obviously a fish sort of island. We didn't try that one because neither Scott and I are very fond of fish. We did, however, try the Oriental Chinese restaurant. We tried that twice because it was amazing. The food was incredible. We also tried the Italian restaurant, which, having pasta one lunchtime, I realised how salty it was, and I was a little bit concerned, if I'm honest, because obviously Italian food is pasta and pizza, so I was a bit concerned. I was pleasantly surprised. They had the most amazing minestrone soup to start, and then they had a breaded chicken breast stuffed with eggplant, which is Brits call aubergine. I did pick the aubergine out because I'm not a huge fan, but the chicken breast was incredible. Highly recommend the Chinese and the Italian restaurant if you ever visit Boa Vista. The other restaurant we booked in was called The Grill. So it's supposed to be chicken, steak, pork, kind of like a barbecue type thing. There was no barbecue food whatsoever. It was delicious. I was a little bit disappointed though. It was nice to kind of be sat near the beach though while having dinner, and there was a guy playing some beautiful music while we ate dinner, which was nice. It was completely a different atmosphere to the other restaurants. So I would highly recommend checking out the themed restaurants if you're ever staying at this hotel or on Boa Vista Island. Really recommend going and checking them out because the main restaurant had a lot of food on offer, but we found it was a lot of the same sort of thing. I love chips. Anyone that knows me knows I love chips, but I can't eat them for 10 days in a row. Everything we did like and really enjoyed, they only seemed to be once throughout a whole holiday. It was a bit of a shame, a bit disappointing on that sense. But on regular evenings they do give you an anonymous survey to fill out, ask questions regarding the waiting staff, the chefs, other services, your room, the cleaning. So we did leave a few suggestions. It's nice to know that they are interested in hearing what people think and what people would like to see in the future. As I mentioned at the beginning of the video, it's quite obvious that they're expanding the hotel and the destination is getting more popular, and it's really nice to see. We also had a swim up bar in the pool, which was amazing. Never seen anything like it in my life. So my camera battery is flashing. It has been doing for the past 5 minutes, so I think that may be my cue to shut up. Sorry for this video being quite lengthy guys, but I really do hope you've enjoyed it. If you've got any questions whatsoever regarding Boa Vista, Cape Verde, the hotel we stayed at, let me know in the comments below and I will do my very best to answer that for you. I will be popping up a few more photos on my blog. The link to my blog will always be in the description box below if you'd like to go and check that out. And I think that's it. I hope you've enjoyed this video, guys, and I'll see you next Sunday. Bye for now.